Hi y'all, it's Julie. So today we're gonna do things a little differently. We're gonna be talking about Love is Blind season 5. So I'm gonna be going based on these notes for seasons 1 through 4. I thought I was gonna keep taking notes, but honey, like I just needed things to speed up after season 1 through 4, and I just really wanted to take time to kind of really just focus on the show because season 1 through 4 was very boring. So we're gonna just go right into it. For my notes, I had that Lydia in episode 1 was a geologist and she was 30 years old. I had nothing else to go for with that. And just remember, this is more so like the representative of these people because this is where they were first shown on our screens on episode 1. So when I met Lydia, I'm like, okay, there go my little POC sister. I like her. I like her. You smart. You know, like, come on. So then we also met Johnny, and one of the noteworthy things I wrote about her that she mentioned was that her mother said she's not meant for a relationship. And when she mentioned that, I'm like, okay, you seem sweet and shy and quiet and collected, but also smart since you're a lawyer and a contract lawyer at that. So why would your mama say that? We got to keep our eyes on you, okay? Because we're looking at your representative right now. So and she had a dog or something like that, and she was married already. So, you know, we still got our eyes on her, but she seemed very sweet and very nice. I had mentioned in my notes that it's 17 minutes in and we're following like 3 people. Speed up already. You know, at that time we were just like kind of focusing on Lydia and Johnny, and eventually the cameras started focusing on Izzy and all that stuff, I suppose. And I have in my notes that Izzy was like 3 people's number 1. And in my notes it says the bald headed guy has personality. And I felt like that stems from him just, he mentioned that like his bald head was an insecurity of his. And I just feel like when you are someone that kind of grew up with insecurities, you're gonna be either funny or the life of the party. You're gonna have a lot of good characteristics that kind of would be good for someone who seems like an extrovert. So he was definitely 3 people's number 1 choice. And we have here Taylor. When she was mentioned, she's a teacher and she struggles with loving herself. And I'm gonna say that and also pan like towards the future episodes and even people's like mixed reactions about her. And I just feel like she was just so beautiful. Some people were saying later on like, oh, JP didn't like her. I'm sorry I'm all the way jumping forward, but I just felt like Taylor was so beautiful. Like, no competition. She was the most beautiful girl on the show. Like, with no makeup on. Like, just looks like a very beautiful, beautiful girl. Like, so she literally looks like she could be like, not a like runway model, but like a model where she does like skincare, or not even makeup reviews, but just like skincare, like just natural clean girl aesthetic things. She was just so beautiful, and she struggled with loving herself. I think I zoned out, but based on what I saw other people were saying, it's because she was overweight when she was younger. I'm telling you, season 1 was so boring and was such a drag, honey. So whatever you did, Taylor, keep it up because you look good. And then there was yeah, I was like, Taylor, I saw she was making a connection with this firefighter guy. Yo, anyway, I saw that there was a love triangle, early empty promises, less baggage, love triangle, early empty promises, less baggage. I don't know what that was about. I think that was about Johnny, Izzy, and Chris, because I don't know what that was about. Then, oh my God, things have definitely changed. We see I had put a heart around Uche because he was just like, when I first saw that black man on the screen in a black Nigerian at that, honey, I was like, oh shoot. Are you Kwame number 2, SK number 2, or are you gonna be a Brett number 2? And I was scared. I was shaking in my boots, honey. So when he first came on the screen, I saw he was an intellectual lawyer, and they only showed him conversating with the black women. Like, Miriam, and then Aaliyah, and he was having good communication, conversation, connection to Aaliyah, and I'm like, oh my God, we got a soubrette number 2, but boy, we knew that went south really quickly. So finally some real conversation. We found out he's a lawyer, and everything just made sense between him and Aaliyah, who is an ICU nurse and a nerd, as she self-proclaims herself to be. Yes, I have it here that he had a connection with this chemist girl, but I don't know what Miriam was on. I still don't understand why things were so hard to talk about. Some people said perhaps her skincare business was more so based on skin bleaching. I don't know. But Miriam, I don't know. I wish you had more screen time. You know, you seem like a girl's girl. You were friends with Taylor, and I felt like you sided with her because you didn't like that Johnny was talking about. Did I say Taylor? I meant Stacy behind her back. So I feel like Miriam's a girl's girl. But anyway, the bald dude, everyone likes the bald dude because he's good vibes. Like, you know, just like fun and all that stuff. And at first I liked Izzy too. For me, Izzy was too perfect. He seemed affectionate, people pleaser. Okay, maybe I'm talking about Aaliyah in that one, but I have it here. Lydia was stuck on Izzy, but Izzy is having fun. I hope to see you in my dreams. Zone out, Izzy disinterested. Like, that was so funny when Lydia was like, I hope to see you in my dreams. Like, Lydia, baby girl, what? So, and Aaliyah, we learned that she does poetry. She's a creative, which would which would be cultivated with Uche. And she loves the necessity to be alone. And I feel like with her personality type too, she perhaps like overthinks. Even on social media, she was like, she didn't want to be seen as the stereotypical angry black woman or very loud and angry. So I don't know. I hope she doesn't overthink too much to the point where she like just perceives herself and doesn't even allow herself to express herself. Just express yourself, dear, because you've been holding your tongue way too much. And honestly, I'm really grateful for Aaliyah just putting herself out there, because I feel like I could see myself in her so much. Just being a people pleaser and just yielding to people. And it's like, baby girl, no, 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 no. Like, people can seem like they have a more authoritative and just no. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like as people, sometimes when we look at other people, they have themselves figured out. But just because this person know how to verbalize their feelings more or have a more standard way of going through life doesn't mean that your reasoning for things are wrong and you can't express that yourself. Like, she has a lot of things she had to go through, even just with being overly honest with Uche. It reminded us, yeah, we need to have those hard conversations. Her cheating on the partner instead of just breaking up with him, it reminded me of myself to just being with people where it's like, it's clearly there, it's over, and then I don't really tell them why it was over, and they actually think that, you know, like something's probably wrong with them or whatever. I should just verbalize that, like, no, I didn't like this about you, and it's not you, it's me. Someone else will like you, but not me. So I just feel like one of the biggest lessons for me on the show was just Aaliyah, and how honestly, just her, everything about her is just like a cautionary tale, the way she left the show. And do we really want to leave this world like that, just being a cautionary tale, not setting up for ourselves and just all of the above. So I just props to Aaliyah for putting yourself out there, for just staying true to yourself. I don't think she was a caricature in any way or trying to be liked. Just kind of stick to your instincts, because Uche, ooh. Anyway, honey, we have, she's vulnerable, expressing herself. Lydia was like, Izzy has been consistent since day one. And it's like, were we seeing the same thing? But again, there's a lot of like cuts and a lot of scenes that we just don't see. So I don't know if Izzy was just telling her what he believes girls want to hear, just having a nice personality and probably being observant and just really having good interpersonal skills and knowing how to communicate with other people. Maybe he was telling her the right things and she just looked like she was the one lashing on to people and just crazy. But eventually I respected Izzy because he told her straight up, I'm not really interested. I have deeper connections. And it was so funny when she was like, okay, have a nice day with your people. She was being so petty. Girl, okay, I ain't mad at you. If that's your way of moving on, as she did, I'm not mad at you. It's better than to be, you know, over here crying over some guy. But that long spiel she had about, you know, all her traumas just breaking down was so unnecessary. Girl, go to therapy, okay? So, yeah, we then saw that Uche's and Aaliyah's relationship was growing, and it was just very, very cute in the first episode. It's so funny looking back at it now. And he was like, you're my girl. Aww. But then, oh yeah, when I have it here, prosecutor or lawyer, which one are you, honey? Because you know what I'm saying? You weren't defending your love or Aaliyah's. It's like you were trying to break it up. And that's when Aaliyah made the, now I honestly want to say stupid mistake. At first when I was watching it, I didn't see it like that, but maybe that was a stupid mistake. It became where like Uche was a prosecutor after Aaliyah admitted to cheating on her ex, which is kind of like a deal breaker for Uche. And I felt like Uche is the type of person, he's very analytical, and just being a lawyer, in some way, he just kind of categorizes people. And I just felt like the way he just kind of just started talking down to Aaliyah since then, to her leaving the show and even meeting him at a dining room table, at the diner, at a restaurant, he just kind of categorized her as just someone he can kind of talk down to. So it's like when if you're admitting something like that, you gotta have like, I did this, and for this, okay? Have good reasons. And Aaliyah's reason was even as worse as her admitting to cheating. Baby girl, we don't do that no more. We're not, you know, that's one thing I learned. Like, you don't gotta be so damn honest with someone about major flaws, major mistakes you've made in your life. That's something I learned growing up. Like, you don't just be honest about everything. Like, no. And I even noted that Lydia is emotional again. And at first, since it was episode one, it was like, that's not a bad thing, but it's noteworthy. Like, why are you just so emotional? I think it's when she was talking in her little interviews with like the camera and like the audience. And it was just like, why are you so emotional? It just gave off desperate. Like, it's like this was her last saving grace. Like, you really can't meet anybody in the real world and you have no issues. You know, you're beautiful. Like, you have great body, great sense of style. Like, what was your issue? You're only 30 years old. Like, Lydia was just, okay. Lydia was just really giving me the ick with how desperate she was acting. But we're not gonna go into that. But it just annoyed me because it's like, am I seeing the same person? I mentioned look in the mirror, girl, and it's like, do you not look in the mirror? You look good. What are you crying about? But I think she just needed to tone it down and really just, just have a balance. I just feel like she's just too loud, and it's like can be a turn off to a lot of people, not even just men. And then this is when I started to kind of assess the people based on the way they dress too. And I'm sorry, but I also just started noticing that Izzy kept wearing short tights. And I just, from that point on, he just started giving me Bartiz. You know what I'm saying? Like a mixed guy, but has like white boy tendencies. You know what I'm saying? Like white college boy tendencies, like not really ready to grow up. And that's exactly what he gave us later on. He was definitely Bartiz #2. And I felt like he really was not attracted to someone like Lydia. He's already spicy Latino, so I feel like he wanted a white girl, and he definitely got that with Stacy. And I'm happy that he was happy with her. Is he in the tight jeans? He was a Jehovah's Witness. He didn't like it, so he adopted a better culture. Izzy had expressed that he grew up in a way that was not a preferred way for him. It wasn't favorable. Looking back, he has a lot of trauma from it. And I just felt like even for me too, I can definitely relate to him coming from like a very eccentric culture, very different from the dominant culture in America. And in some ways, I more so like grasp in a way the dominant culture because I want to be more removed from my own culture due to the traumas that I feel like when you're so involved in, whether it could be a religion or a culture, it can kind of traumatize you, so you just kind of like try to go to the opposite side. And I feel like adopting American culture was that. And I don't know if for Izzy it could have also been the reason he adopted like just even the preference of the greater culture. He loved his parents' house. His dad was not his real dad. And he just wanted to join y'all's tradition, join the tradition of the dominant preferences family. That was very noteworthy to me. And I just really, it was weird because I just felt like, let's say I went on a reality show, I would try so hard to not seem like I have all these issues. But honestly, it's just the genuineness out there. Like these people are like literally themselves, and we could see them ourselves in them. And it's just like, I'm just so happy and grateful these people put themselves out there, because in a way we could see our issues. That's literally where it comes from, on why you would want to like be more so removed from your beautiful culture and you know, Latino culture and stuff like that, to wanting to pretty much adopt someone else's traditions, when I'm sure Latino and, you know, Latin tradition is just as beautiful. So I was so happy to see people forming meaningful connections. And I felt like Lydia's was too early with hers. She didn't keep an open mind. She just latched onto Izzy. And I think she thought it was just going to be easier because he was Latino. I just don't know what it was. But I felt like instead of just letting genuine connections form, Lydia just was like, she hears it and she's like, okay. She already just goes from step 1 to step 100 without the person. She is like, it's a race, and then she runs to the finish line and the person is not even hand in hand with her. Like, slow down, take baby steps with the person, and then let the person get to know you. Lydia just made it harder than it needed to be, and thank God with that's why I felt like she made a good connection with Milton, because Milton was the one that was going very fast from 1 to 50. So being that Lydia was still at 1, her catching up was just putting her right up to Milton's speed, because she went from 0 to 100, and when Milton was already at 50, and then he's getting to 100, they were at the same, oh, I love you, all this stuff that doesn't make any sense. So I felt like they were literally up to each other's speed, and that's exactly how it works. Just be patient, because she was just way too thirsty to find somebody, and it was really just, it's off-putting for the audience. Imagine how off-putting it is for the person she's with. My God, like, and we all know that when you don't express like obsession with a guy, that's when they start expressing admiration for you, and then you're like, oh, you like me? I mean, I like you too. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my experience. I just felt like Lydia just made it way too hard, way too hard for herself. And it's like, you know, it's just like, that's why it's about confidence. It's about also what's inside and not just what's out here. And in the beginning for me, it came to the point where I guess Uche revealed to Aaliyah that him and Lydia are exes, and I have it here that I respect Lydia and Uche keeping their mouths shut. I felt Izzy low-key tried to, intercept shit that doesn't have to deal with him to ensure Johnny isn't strong on him. She shouldn't have a chance with anyone else. And literally, I felt that way literally episode, well, now we're further in the episode, way before, 5, 6, 7 came out. And it was so obvious where Izzy was just way too concerned with Chris and Johnny's. It's just looking back, even now, it just pissed me off while watching that. Why are you so concerned with Chris and Johnny's, ordeal love triangle situation? And I just felt like, again, how people were saying to Aaliyah, you're here to find love, not a friendship. So with that BS, Izzy was even saying in episode 7, oh, I'm watching out for my friend. Complete BS. That's something people fall back onto to make excuses for their actions. Just like Aaliyah, it's her insecurities and feeling like she's gonna be second to Lydia that made her leave the show. That's not because I was your friend. Girl, bye. Because everybody got an ex. We know this. Thank you. So yeah, it really pissed me off that from day one, we saw that insecurity with Izzy trying to mess up Johnny's chances of being with Chris. Like, at the end of the day, I feel like they should have continued the Love is Blind, and at the altar, if it's a no, then it's a no. But at least y'all got to really get the full, like, fast forwarding experience of being and getting to know each other, instead of now having to go back into y'all's real lives and then make time for each other and see if it works and all that stuff. Because the only difference between Love is Blind, you guys are like all up in each other's faces and really getting to know each other, talk about the hard things, just like Stacy and Izzy had to do in a fast forward pace. Versus in the real world, oh, you want to schedule a date? No, babe, I have work and all that stuff. So I just feel like they kind of robbed themselves of just not only getting to know each other, but getting to know themselves in a more serious manner. Because while Johnny had been married before, I believe while Johnny had been married before, I believe Chris never been married before, or never been in such a serious relationship to the point where he not only gets to know himself and get to know other people, even him sharing such a personal situation about the way he lost his virginity. It's him opening up and getting to know himself and what are the underlying traumas that are there. Because I felt like when he even introduced that conversation to Johnny, he didn't expect that, like, that would have probably, the question would have came back to him and have him breaking down. I don't think anyone wants to be that heavy on day one, like that on day one, because we don't know exactly what day it was, but very early on in a relationship with your potential partner that you're going to marry in a couple of weeks. So yeah, is you weird for that? Okay. And it was the same thing with Uche, wanted to help Milton but didn't feel that with, okay, so I was comparing how, like, I actually did feel like Uche was trying to help Milton, but I didn't feel that with Izzy telling Chris oh, Johnny was just talking to me this and that, this and that, this and that. Because it really had nothing to do with you at that point. If you were her number one and he's her number two, why is it so impossible that she could have probably had feelings for him too? And it was just it's not to say that I don't have any distrust in her really wanting to be with Chris, but it was just his involvement and it was just so unnecessary. Yep, I also felt like Lydia was overcompensating and trying to be likable, but she just looked obsessed. Uh-huh. Oh yeah, and she was like, they're gonna laugh. Lydia was like, her and Aaliyah are gonna be laughing about it 3 years ago about their situation, and then she laughed. It was so obvious now. That's something we don't need to go into. That she was really just trying to sabotage Aaliyah and Uche. And it was just so pathetic that Aaliyah just was there for a friendship. I don't know. Aaliyah just um saw a friendship, saw a bond so desperately, and then she got the blood-sucking shark Lydia, and Lydia chewed her up and spit her out. And while she was lost at sea, Lydia was in Mexico on, riding on Milton. So Aaliyah, no. Don't be so desperate to eat that you consume poison. Don't be so desperate for people that you end up with someone like Lydia. No, honey. I mentioned in my notes, I honestly don't see what Milton is doing here at 24 years old. And especially with his accomplishments, like, babe, you just wanted to be on TV. You just wanted to have a following. You just wanted to, I don't know what it was. He did mention that he was bullied before. And I just think he wanted to be on a platform where everyone who knew him is like, whoa, Milton, smart guy, engineer, woman throwing themselves at him later on and stuff like that. He just wanted to be on a platform because at the end of the day, no one comes on Love is Blind and put themselves out there without seemingly being put together. So Milton had no reason to be on Love is Blind except to also build that aspect of like social well, how would you call that? Social, not revenue, but like your social power. He just wanted to build his social power, especially now having social power can kind of help you make money off of it. We've seen time and time again how social media people make so much money. So that was the only reason he was there. And if love finds him, then that's a win-win. But instead of love, I see more lust. But perhaps he'll still take the dive with Lydia. Lydia also suddenly started to have a change of heart for Milton when she had no one else. And I just felt like she was a big liar and she was just trying to convince herself, because there ain't no way she was trying to convince us as viewers that she tried so hard, but it was a fail. You tried, but you failed, okay? Try harder next time, Lydia, at trying to convince us, because no one is buying that you started to like Milton. Come on now. From the voice and everything. Just like when you met him and you saw that he was 6'7", babe. You cannot tell that from a voice. No. I've been with a person who was 6'7". The voice is different, okay? So, yeah, he wasn't saying he was playing Pokemon either, so. But he also wasn't saying that he was an engineer, so. But, come on now. I was expecting, with a voice like Milton, you were expecting a nerd with glasses, short to like medium height, maybe 5'6" to 5'8", the tallest. You were not expecting what Milton is actually is. And in picking the name Milton instead of James, which is Milton's actual name, Milton knew what he was doing. He was just there to be a clown, especially with that IG profile picture with that crazy hair. Like, Milton, please. Anyways, in episode 4, we're left with a shocker, Aaliyah leaves, and I was just so shocked. And I was also mad, like, why do the black women on these reality TV shows start doing this? We saw on the ultimatum, the black girl had left, who ended up pregnant and didn't know about it, and suddenly randomly tests herself, and then, whoa, she's pregnant. And now we're seeing that with Aaliyah, so I was mad. I said is what's funny is I always regret talking highly about someone, and Uche doing what he did, you know, being with Lydia 3 months ago, it made what Lydia was saying have more validity to it. Versus if Lydia Uche just called a spade and said Lydia was crazy. It was just too much going on when Uche was just saying so many sentimental and sweet things about Lydia. And eventually he said, oh, he just didn't want to look like a bitter ex. But he just went too hard with the compliments about Lydia. And sometimes even when you're like trying to make things up about people, you're like, let me really dig deep into the positive things about the person. And you actually have positive things to say about the person. So when he was saying all those positive things, they were true. They were the good things about Lydia that he saw first before he wanted to kind of turn her into a monster. She had a good heart. She's carrying this and that. He knows that. So that was my understanding of the characters and like basically episode 1 through 4. And you know, I had to bring some 5 to 6 to 7 episodes up in there because it's just like everything just made sense in hindsight. But to bring everything together about all of the characters, I didn't like how social media act like Taylor is just such a chubby girl. Like, girl ain't bigger than a size 8 in jeans. And a lot of people are saying she's too big, she's not JP's type. I'm sorry, but JP is insecure. He's insecure by Taylor's beauty, and he knows that in the physical world, like, Taylor could do better than her. And I feel like Taylor whole demeanor made JP feel like she was uninterested in him, and I felt like he also did it to himself. It's when we self-sabotage. He wasn't talking. He felt he was he just repressed himself and turned into like what I did not even remember. I'm like, who is these people? Who is this couple? Because I do not remember them. They were boring in the past, but they're even boringer now. So who are these people? And I just, it was just like no chemistry there. So in that case, love just wasn't blind. I also felt like in episode like 5, Uche meets Aaliyah, and he just was not, he didn't have that spark. He felt like he was that man when she was begging him, and he was just like, no, I don't need this anymore. And that's the thing with at least when you're in the actual experiment in the pods, after the pods, you already committed to that person. You just have to force it and see it through, just like with Bartise and Nancy. But in this case, he could say no. So it was just like a waste of time. I don't know why Aaliyah did it. I don't know. You left, you went home. It's just like, what? Aaliyah doesn't know what she wants. And don't bring that into 30, okay, Aaliyah? You still 20, I guess, have your fun. But don't bring that in your 30 because it's just going to waste your time. Clearly, you don't stand for BS because you do walk away. But it's like, it's just like, don't keep repeating the same mistakes. At least learn from it. And I felt like just being on the show, maybe watching her patterns, she could actually learn something from this, because I certainly am learning something from it. It's gonna be hard, but at least with flighting and just walking away and not communicating, it's something I'm gonna definitely stop doing. With Stacy, who knew Stacy was a bougie girl? Who knew she came from a rich family? And I definitely saw that like Izzy was thinking he was about to be in his city boy bag up on Stacy, but he don't got it like that. We all know he don't got it like that. So I just feel like there's not much to say. I think I'm gonna have to just make a part 2 for season 4. For episode 4, 5, and 7, 5 to 7, because my voice is so dry right now. But guys, comment what y'all think about Love is Blind. Just tell me your thoughts, maybe some points I haven't touched on. Talk to me. Thank y'all for watching.